Walls of water coming down in Baton Rouge, Louisiana.
The death toll and the misery index are rising in flood-ravaged Louisiana.
Overnight, the number of people being rescued nearly tripled in size to 20,000.
At least 7 deaths have now been reported.
At least 11 people have died.
13 people are now confirmed dead in the state of Louisiana in what officials are calling the most destructive natural disaster since Superstorm Sandy.
30,000 people have been rescued since Friday, 40,000 homes damaged.
30-inch rainfall totals. Louisiana has gotten punched in the gut.
When the flood happened, the rivers exceeded the crest of the levees, and the water came in.
By Sunday morning, my husband woke me up about 5 o'clock in the morning, and he said, "We have got to go find your mom." Like, I'm watching the news, I've been watching it all night. There are places completely underwater.
And at that moment, we knew we were all in trouble. You stop thinking about work and start thinking about your neighbors immediately.
So we started driving around to shelters that we had heard were open, and just seeing the people walking down major highways, barefoot in, whatever they had on their back, maybe a garbage bag full of stuff, families just walking completely devastated. I mean, thousands and thousands of people.
It's a 1,000-year flood, they say. Places that had never flooded ever flooded. We had displaced families. They were living in flooded out trailers or flooded out houses, and they're just walking away from their houses or selling it to cash buyers and investors, and you just couldn't believe it.
My name is Sharonda Jackson. I live here in Denham Springs, Louisiana. I was completely wiped out with cars, nothing left, no furniture, no memories, no anything. Just everything was destroyed.
I don't think we've ever experienced anything like this. I don't think anybody has. The water rushing in the streets, it was just like rapids out of the river.
Isaac or Katrina, we've had all that. But this was totally different because it was real quiet. It was a quiet chaos. It was just here before you knew it was here.
At 2 o'clock in the morning, it was in our house. As a mom, I was scared, but I couldn't let my 7-year-old know I was scared. It was only 4 inches of water, like yay much, but over $35,000 worth of personal property. During the flood, after the flood, people came together to help each other.
The rescue efforts from everybody that was able to around the parish, it just turned into a full-scale rescue effort.
Anybody who had a boat that time launched their boat, and they just went.
Thousands of volunteers are pouring into Louisiana to help flood victims.
The number of rescues has reached 20,000.
But people have pulled together throughout the devastated region to give each other support. Janie Wax is in Baton Rouge, where people are helping their neighbors survive.
We came out of a very bad summer, and I think it's been documented on the news with the shootings and whatnot. And this happened, a month and a half afterwards? And it didn't matter if you were a cop or you were a member of something else. Everybody band together. It didn't matter.
Everybody was just, okay, well, I'm not going to worry about me. I'm dry. Let me go over here now.
My neighbor had to push the door open.
I mean, seeing complete strangers out there collecting donations, making food, preparing food.
Hundreds of boats launching to rescue people.
One day we went and just started handing out food out of the back of my car.
My wife, she said, we've got to do something. We've got to go, and so that's what we did. We drove to one of the fire stations and we loaded sandbags for 3-4 hours. It was just amazing to see everybody come together in one shot.
Once we knew Mom was saved, then my mind went to work.
Our pipeline was liquidated in 24 hours, and it was finished. I thought 3-4 months of closing no loans was legitimate.
One of my project managers, they were like, you're gonna have to get yourself together for your kids. You're gonna have to find somewhere to stay. And that's when I met you guys. And life started to open up.
This flood had happened to them and devastated their lives, and they're grasping the last straw to get into a house. And it was the biggest emotional time of my life.
We slept on the floor because there was no apartments. You couldn't rent anything. There was nothing. But Bret was amazing. Bret made it just so easy.
My realtor told me about network funding and Miss Brandin. I called her in tears. She assured me from day one she was going to take care of me, that network funding will provide for me. And she did beyond that.
I explained to Bret what was going on. He says, we're going to ride right through this. And he did. I mean, I don't know any other place that could fund you as fast as he got us funded.
I've never gone to that many closings and cried that much. Because when they shook your hand at the end of that closing and gave you that hug, it made you feel so good that you got them out of where they were at and into where they're at now.
Now seeing customers get into their homes just is a little more special.
We're all a family. One of the terms that we used was Louisiana Strong. Being a part of network funding, we're network strong. And I truly mean that, because everybody bound together, the text messages, the phone calls, everything.
I was very touched by the fact that several upper executives called us personally.
Company-wide, there was a donation and a call to action out that basically saved us. We received a very massive donation from everybody company-wide and floored us all.
Brought tears to my eyes that people would do that, because they don't know me, you know?
But to have an entire company take you on their back, it completely floored me and made me so much more proud to be a part of this company.
I think it's important, whether you have a disaster or not, to give back to the community in whatever way you can. And I think it's important as a company for us to do that, because we kind of make the reputation for the company. And I think it's important to show our communities, whatever state you live in, show your community that we are a giving network.